Thank you very much. So I will just wait for 5 minutes, then we'll make conversation. Any specific question that you want to pose before the lecture proceeds? I will try to incorporate in my lecture, if possible, on the higher education. Any specific question, you can put it in the chat box. I'll read it and I will try to see if I can answer that. If possible, on the higher education. Any specific question? I'll read it and I'll try. जमाने के लिए टीचर रुको जरा हैप्पी होली हैप्पी होली अब आप समझे कि प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस क्यों नहीं करते क्योंकि सामान्य से सवालों और सामान्य सूती के बोरे को हम मार्केट से खरीद कर लाते हैं हम फैक्ट्री में किस चीज से और कैसे बनता है चलो देखते हैं पहले जुट के पौधे की कटाई होती है अब इसे एक जगह रखकर बांध दिया जाएगा फिर इसे उठाकर टाली पर लोड कर देंगे अब यह टाली पूर्ण हो चुका है तो इसे गोदाम पर भेज दिया जाएगा अब इस तालाब में जुट को उतारा जाएगा और इसके ऊपर कीचड़ को डालकर एक हफ्ते के लिए छोड़ देंगे जिससे जुट सड़ जाए अब इस जुट से छिलके को अलग किया जाएगा और इसे बांधकर सूखने के लिए ले जाएंगे यह अब सूख चुका है तो इसे उठाकर फैक्ट्री को भेज दिया जाएगा अब इस जुट की इस मशीन में गुथाई होगी जिससे यह स्मूथ होकर बाहर निकले अब इस रोल को यहाँ लगा दिया जाएगा रस्सी बनने की अब रस्सी की रोल बन चुकी है तो इस रोल को इस मशीन में लगा दें जिससे आगे जाकर चादर की बिनाई होगी अब इसे बोरे के साइज में काट लिया जाएगा और आगे ले जाकर इसे सील दिया जाएगा अब सूती का बोरा रेडी है मार्केट में भेजने की जिस सूती के बोरे को हम मार्केट प्लीज रेस्पॉन्ड इन द चैट बॉक्स देयर इज अ क्वेश्चन फॉर यू shall we start one of you thank you that's great so what is the topic of deliberation that we have chosen today one of you should write topic of discussion today.
Higher education and society.
Thank you. So prior to coming to this lecture, how many of you, if you are not in the discipline of faculty of education, asked this question? Prior to coming to this lecture, how many of you asked a question related to the title of our discussion?
higher education and society. Okay, these are my questions, and we shall try to address one by one that why this is important for us. Arindam, I see your specific question. Once the discussion part comes, after I have spoken for 50 minutes, you raise this question by unmuting yourself. Okay? I think, to be very frank with you, I'm involved in higher education for the last nearly 4 decades. I have never asked this question. And I am very sorry for myself that I did not ask that question. My area of specialization is structure of materials. So most of the time I work with material, phase diagram, phase transformation, and all such topics. So I have become a specialized intellectuals, whereas a professor is supposed to be doing more than that. We are supposed to understand the psychology of our students and tell them what are the challenges ahead. So I have made a formal statement. Yes, that's good. But let me first give you the theoretical background of it. Otherwise, I have worked very hard to come to your class. Right? All these things you can raise once the discussion is there. Right? I'll permit you, some of you, to unmute and give your point. Okay, Pankaj? Pankaj?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Thank you.
Sir, screen is not visible to us, I think.
No, I have not given you the video.
Okay, sir.
No, because if I give you the video, what will happen is perhaps the quality of the reception will be poor. And anyway, I'm going to speak as slowly as possible. I'm not a teacher that I'll be covering more and more lecture, whatever I have prepared. No, I'm not of that kind. So the first statement that I would like to submit before you all, that most of us involved in higher education seldom bother to ask the question related to relationship between education and society. And if it is pertaining to higher education, then it may be a laughable question to ask. Is that correct or not? Suppose that I am working in the area of physical metallurgy and I ask my fellow colleague that can you make some observation about the higher education and society? They will laugh at me. They will tell me that you better concentrate on. Now nobody can tell me, but if I were to be assistant professor, they will tell that better concentrate on physical metallurgy, structure of materials, and try to publish good paper. This is not your cup of tea to understand higher education and society. So therefore, it is laughable in that sense. Maybe that the professionally competent colleague in the area of social sciences or faculty of education, they may be asking this question, but definitely not science and engineering. If any contest is there that the students and the teachers of science and engineering discipline, they keep deliberating on the relationship between education and society, then please contest it in the chat box so that I stand corrected. But majority of the time, we do not bother. See, there is a question of accreditation itself. In the accreditation, nobody is going to ask Department of Metallurgical Engineering, to which I am associated at the moment, to tell that what is this higher education and the society related. They will not. They will simply ask me that, did you develop a product? Did you have patent? How many publications you have? And all such things. I'm going to demonstrate that this is the most important question for all of us. So I think society must have collectively decided to create a organized structure to fulfill human being inner desire to know. Who said it that man has got the inner desire to know? In 18th century, can anybody recollect? 18th century. Okay, you just type in your mobile, in case you are not online on mobile, dare to understand. Who said it? Just for fun. Any student of philosophy is here? This is the name of the philosopher, Kant. 1784. The statement that I have made, that inner desire to know, he theorizes and says that man has got a wonderful desire and he wants to understand it. And therefore he has given as a formula or as a statement that dare to understand. Should I write for you? I'm sure some of you must have seen it by now. Is this a very simple question? This is not at all a simple question. Not from the intellectual point of view, but the boldness with which you are supposed to understand is just. I think it will be difficult for any of us to practice. So I have made a statement that this is a courageous statement. This is a bold statement and difficult to rise to the demands of knowing the truth of the matter, just to understand. See, until, in case you want to understand the truth of the matter, then you are supposed to understand it. Therefore, understanding is the first point of it. This is for your own satisfaction, inner self. And then where is the society coming from? Where is the society coming into picture? So now I am making some statement, very, very simple observations, and I am sure you all must be thinking the way I am thinking. Until I go to a theoretical work of some philosopher in this area of education, some of the observations are simple because I have never worked on higher education, but I understand higher education and society both. Little bit I understand. So let us look at our social condition itself. Our social condition is a result of natural interaction between man and nature. Very broad, so nobody can question it. Perhaps knowing human-to-human relationship and understanding it is a subject matter of humanistic studies. You ask any student of humanistic studies, be it social science, art or literature or what do you call that visual arts, performing arts, that what are you trying to do? They will say that I am trying to understand human-to-human relationship. Be it novel, be it poetry, be it a postcard by the famous painter. Then, how come we are trying to discuss this point of relationship between education and society, and particularly higher education and society, irrespective of our discipline? Because we are human beings. Is that a statement has gone into? Because we all are human beings. And the human beings are supposed to be interacting with nature. So there is a closer interaction between the nature and human being. And of course, human being and natural object like flora and fauna. A human being can also interact with nature to discover laws governing it and feel elevated from within. Whose domain is this? Laws of nature to be discovered. One part I have told you, that man-to-man relationship. Now man, that human being is trying to, whenever I'm using man, I'm including all gender. Please don't make any issue out of it. So, if human being has to understand natural laws, whose domain is this? Fundamental laws of motion, for example. Laws of gravitation, for example. Thermodynamics, laws of thermodynamics. You are trying to discover. Can those laws affect the social condition? If it is affecting, then we are justified in discussing that there is a closer relation. However difficult it may be to appreciate, but education per se is related to society and is a necessity of the society. And we need to realize now, had we been discussing this in the beginning of the 20th century, perhaps we would not have realized it, but now you all will. The moment I make a statement, just after this, you all will say, very correct. The impact of activities of human being affects nature, and this process in turn influences the life cycle of flora and fauna. How many of you are aware of Josimath? Where it is located? Josimath. Josimath. Please. Boliye Chandrasekhar.
Uttarakhand. Uttarakhand, sir.
Yes, Uttarakhand. And what was the problem of Josimath?
Sir, floods were persistent there.
So you must be knowing that they disturb flora and fauna of that region.
Yes, sir. Quite, sir, up to extensively, sir. Very extensively.
Yes. So therefore, we are better placed to understand it. And this is how, Ken Chandrasekhar, you can, your hand is still, thank you. So now, and how are they interacting? How severely they are interacting? See, there I have constructed two sentences for you. How are they interacting and how closely they are interacting, how severely they are interacting. Let us look at the actual historical fact. Historical fact is not what the historian are doing. Okay. Sometime you call me, I'll give on history itself, but not today. Extinction and appearance of new species are the two processes that are well known to all of us based on our elementary exposure of ecology and environment around us. Do you know Goraiya? Goraiya, आप लोग जानते हैं Goraiya? Sparrow, Sparrow, SPARROW. Goraiya जानते हैं? And if you are if you are from a city side, your mother will say or your grandparents will say that previously whenever they used to do something, okay, for making rice, for example, then they, all those sparrows used to surround my nanima, that is my grandmaternal parents, and my mother also. I've seen it. But these days, I don't see. Yes, Menka, did you see Goraiya sparrow in the BHU campus? Please write in the chat box. I am here for the 40 years. And I know that how it has vanished. So this is what I mean, that it is a severe interaction as well. That has to be questioned, and therefore not only education is related to society, but the nature as a whole. And we are natural animals. Let us. Yes, but now these days even from the village it is going. Okay, any colleague from the Uttarakhand, they are blessed with beautiful species of birds, I can tell you. Okay. And therefore, all these examples that I have constructed, they will convince you that you cannot be ignorant of social conditions and environmental degradation owing to excess resource consumption within a given time frame. Therefore, one has to make a careful audit of the developmental project that we are taking around the city, around the villages, around the... Yes. So this has to be understood. Education is needed for another reason as well. Human being cannot afford to be just dependent on materials comfort. This is true. See, whenever you are talking to a good friend, you get attached to him. A good teacher, a good student. Oh, what a wonderful student is he. And it gives you satisfaction from within. And how do you know the virtues? How do you know the qualities? For that also you require education. And whether those instructions that you have got are being seen in the society as a whole. If it is not, then Either your education is faulty or something else is going on in the society that we are not able to understand. And therefore, the fundamental diction, dare to understand, is the most important thing for higher education. Okay? Despite such global views, we get carried away by the notion that all educational institutions must contribute to material resources only. That means you are trying to say that the Hindi Vibhag must be closed down. Does it make any sense? Beautiful pieces in Sanskrit literature should not be read by us. Beautiful pieces of music should not be read because it is unnecessary. It does not give material comfort to the society. I think we should be conscious of this, that every discipline must be nourished without any difficulty. Okay? This is the obligation on all of us as human beings. So, when we talk of man and nature and their complex interaction, we do not see such a narrow goal of education as a whole. Now see, there is an interaction between man to nature, within the natural objects. This must be consciously kept in mind whenever we are making a case of good education for a worth living society, and more so for a democratic society. Okay, should I reiterate? I am saying that for a worth living society, it is essential that education must have varieties of dimension. All disciplines must be nourished in the university campus, in the places of higher learning. And more so in case you want a democratic society. So society has got a qualifier. Now democratic society demands something else also. And that else will come slowly and slowly. It will be argued out as we proceed that search for truth, the most vital element of higher education, can be preserved if we have democratic functioning within educational institution and outside its boundary. See, you want to make a democratic institution within a boundary wall. For example, and everything is undemocratic outside, the compatibility of what we are trying to learn or what we are trying to practice on the campus will not be in sync with what is happening outside the boundary wall of the university. As a consequence of this, what is going to happen is that we will not be able to maintain democratic functioning of the institution. Does it make sense, my dear friends? Is it following little bit logical to some of you? Does it appeal you logically? One of you should say either no or yes, so that I can move forward. Did it make sense or not? Yeah, thank you very much. At least some of us do think together. The absence shall kill. Look at that now. Next, the absence of a democratic society shall kill our endeavors to learn, debate, and differ. Those of us who are humble researchers, we know what does it mean. You are supposed to first learn the subject. Then you are supposed to debate with your peer group, including your own supervisor, that is the teacher. And you must preserve your right, or you must exercise your right to differ. Preserve ठीक नहीं था, that English was wrong. You must exercise your right to differ. And all these things are granted provided we have a democratic society. Is that argument following correctly? Only democratic society seems to have all the necessary features to promote questioning, reasoning, and thereby create a rational and human society. Okay? And look at our constitution, the great Indian constitution. It gives you everything that you can debate, you can question, you can reason out. Everything within our hand at the moment. So let us make some observation about the National Education Policy of 2020. Okay. Now the question will start, so you have to follow me. The question is of the following kind. Any education policy of the government of India after independence, if you look at, why does it start from part 1 as school education? And then followed by part 2, higher education. Then there are others that I am not going to discuss. Is that correct or not? If you look at any education policy document of the government of India after independence, then it will always begin from school education. Part 1. Normally they are writing part 1. And then part 2 will be higher education. The school education, they also will have primary education, secondary education, and all such things. But that's not the point of concern at the moment. So some of us believe that the school education has been overemphasized. It has been overemphasized. Okay. But I believe this is how it should be, as some of you have said it. And argue out that this is how it should be. So how do you get the input in higher education? All those students who completed school education. So that becomes the input. So the quality of input in higher education is dependent on the academic health of the school education. This is very fundamental. You cannot afford to ignore, no government should ignore it. And we all should be supporting it. But let us argue out further. And how are you going to maintain a good academic health of the school education? That's the next question, natural question. Then you will require good graduate to teach, apart from infrastructure. In this, I think I am not going to deal with the infrastructure because that will unnecessarily kill my time. So, you require good graduate to impart quality education in the school level, at the school level. If it is so, then higher education also becomes very important. will require that both must be given equal importance. And the competent educationist must be allowed to air their views for school education as well as higher education. No interference. We should not permit interference. We will argue out at a theoretical basis that there is no argument to support historically after the advent of the university that the person who is funding will have the say in making course structure. There is no, I don't think anybody will be able to quote even a single good document, well investigated document, well researched document that look, here is a state that funded this institution and they finally dictated that these are the things must be taught. Then forget about universality in the approach. Okay. I think there are mechanisms in place, I'm told, by some of the students of Faculty of Education that we have various models to improve school education. So we want to produce now good. Now I'll not be deliberating school education at all. Okay. First thing that I do not understand it, to be very frank with you. Higher education I understand because I have after all devoted 40 years of my time. Okay. So I can understand. I can have some finer nuances that I can pass on to my participant, but not on school education. School education requires some different kind of exposure that I don't have. So I am asking myself a question. Only the theoretical thing is that in case you want quality education to be imparted at the school level, you require quality graduate. So the next question is, how do you produce good graduate? They have to be produced on the academic institutions of higher learning only. What do we mean by good graduate? This is also an important question. To accomplish this, that means to answer this, we need to understand the idea of higher education. And we shall be deliberating on the theoretical basis of the idea of higher education. May not be in the before 5:20 or so, but I will definitely try to make my position very clear by invoking some of the best men who understand higher education better than many of us. Now here is an observation. Okay, so I'll be in the first person. In my considered opinion, good graduates are produced in good university known for scholarship and excellence. And it is not dependent on the rating. It is not dependent on the ranking. It is not dependent on accreditation. This is my considered opinion. But I will not be able to deliberate today. Okay? Those of you who are interested can sometime mail extensively without any difficulty. A good graduate coming out with closer interaction in the tradition of scholarship has the potential to think independently. Look at that. A graduate who has gone after qualifying something, gone out He should be able to think independently. That is the definition of good graduate. See, every time, whenever you encounter, for example, you are a school principal, you are a graduate, postgraduate, maybe PhD also. Now, some guide must have given you supervision. And suddenly, if there is a problem in the school or the college, you cannot be asking Guruji to guide you. That means your training is not complete. Okay? So it says that you should be able to take independent decision. To meet challenges of life in society through innovation and ingenuity. Each of us, whether we are graduate or not, have the ability to think innovatively. We can innovate. I'm sure of it. They are going to serve as potential contributors to make a worth living society in future. And it is in this sense that higher education is closely linked to society. What kind of graduates are expected by the society? Those, irrespective of which profession they are, irrespective of what they are doing, they should be able to innovate. They should be able to think independently and try to implement, find out resources to implement that. This should be realized that education as a profession, and this profession includes the teacher and taught both, is being practiced in present, but it has the ambition to nurture regions, habit that will remain with the graduates long after they have left a vibrant academic campuses. See, those of us who are blessed with the best company of the research through discussion, debate, participation in a democratic way. Now, let us try to refer to the education policies of the successive governments in independent India. You must be knowing technically, prior to independent India, we were subject of British Raj. But after independence, we all are equal and became citizen of a free country with our constitution. See, I'm trying to emphasize democratic society, constitution again and again. Otherwise, the higher education cannot be democratic. We will not have time to deliberate upon in detail, but let us try to recollect some of the basic premise around which foundation of modern university is led. Basic foundation. In this context, I would like to quote some of the statements made in the Radhakrishnan and Kothari committee reports on education policy. So the first, this is just historically to set the record straight. What it tells us is that Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan sir, who was our vice chancellor also of Banaras Hindu University campus and finally rose to the level of the President of India, he headed in 1949, just after independence. It must have been a challenging time for everybody. So, in 1949, he headed a commission, education commission, followed by a physicist. Radhakrishnan sir was a philosopher. You must be knowing it. But Kothari sir is not. He is a physicist. He was a physicist by training. The next commission came in 1966. A normally very famous Kothari Commission report, they will say, on education policy. So I would like to quote some of these statements that are relevant for our assertion that the good graduates are to be produced in good university, and the good meaning of good university will become clear the moment I read these two intellectual giants, for example. There are others also, but I thought it appropriate that since we are NEP 2020, let me have the historical fact also before all of you. So one of the assertions of Radhakrishnan Committee is, please follow me, I am reading it verbatim. Higher education is undoubtedly an obligation of the state. Is that clear? The government cannot say, the state cannot say, or the government cannot say that this is not my business. It is our Radhakrishnan. Nobody, he is not a foreigner. He understands better that time. He was a well-accomplished gentleman and he was knowing it. But look at this. Second sentence is very important. But the state aid, that means if the state is giving funding, is not to be confused with the state control over academic policies and practices. You cannot be arguing like a nonsense, as I have told you earlier also. Nobody in the world, irrespective of where he is teaching, if he is a professor of eminence, he will simply say that it is nonsense to ask, to have dictate of the state or the agency that has funded us. They cannot tell us how to teach, what to teach. Intellectual progress, again, Radhakrishnan Committee. Intellectual progress demands the maintenance of the spirit of free inquiry. The spirit of free inquiry. So if somebody has funded and finally he starts interfering with the process of investigation itself, then it will not be a good investigation. That means they are trying to create an obstacle to the process of investigation also. Not only the process of investigation, but also desire to try to understand the truth of the matter. So Radhakrishnan goes on to add, and I quote again, the pursuit and practice of truth, look at that, the same thing, free inquiry and the truth, both of them are related. If there is no opportunity for the free inquiry, forget about the truth. That means everybody would be reading Kabir the way some other gentleman has read it. But this is not true. I can read Shakespeare in another way. I can read 1984 in another way. This is a famous George Orwell novel, 1984. Okay? The title of the novel itself is 1984. So the pursuit and practice of truth, regardless of consequences, has been the ambition of the universities. Again, I read it. The pursuit and practice of truth, regardless of consequences, has been the ambition of the universities. Radhakrishnan, unquote. On similar line, Professor Kothari Commission report also says the same thing. It begins by stating the state's obligation to fund education. The state's obligation to fund education, but not interfere with its day-to-day functioning. Don't succumb to the pressure or the logic at the theoretical level that, well, the government is giving you the funding and therefore you have to listen to it. By government, I don't mean only the central government or the state government. But I also mean that if the private, suppose that there is a private businessman who has opened a school or a college and finally saying that no, you have to behave like this. No, you cannot. Right? And you can simply say, I am aware of, you can always answer that I am aware of private institution like Harvard. And all these people who want to interfere in our business, they would like to send their children to Harvard, where there is no interference. Right? They cannot interfere. Barring a few exceptions, sometimes they do. But those were different days, my dear friend. Now look at one of the Rajya Sabha debate that has attracted me in this connection is the statement made by Tara Chand on 6th of December 1965. He was Rajya Sabha MP. He is very explicit, and I am told he was a well-accomplished, well-trained Oxford graduate. Okay, this I was not knowing, but one of my friends informed me that Tara Chand is a historian trained from Oxford. If you look at Radhakrishnan Committee report, the statement that I have read, and the Kothari report statement that I have read, and try to see what Tara Chand has to say in the Rajya Sabha on 6th of December 1965, you will find that, oh, all these wise men are thinking alike. Now I am quoting Tara Chand, within quote. Exclusive control of education by the state has been an important factor facilitating the maintenance of totalitarian tyrannies. We must resist, in the case of our own democracy, the trend towards governmental domination of education process. In case you permit excessive interference of those who are funding you to interfere in the business of education, that means not only you are going to finish your academic institution and therefore no good graduate can be produced, not only that, it will have far-reaching implication on the democracy that the society has cherished, that the freedom movement has given us. They are relevant always for educational institutions. An educationist, irrespective of which discipline he or she belongs, must realize it. Some of us believe that, in my discipline nobody can interfere. This is not the question. The question is that you want to destroy the fundamental way of arguing on a campus by interfering, which is not correct, which cannot be correct, and it must be registered for the sake of democracy, right? For the sake of education, for the sake of producing good graduate. That was the hypothesis, no? That was the question that I asked. That how can I produce good graduate? I require good university, and good university means that there are plenty of people who are just searching the truth in their own discipline. I'm not saying that everybody will be thinking about Shakespeare only or Kabir only. No, I'm not saying that. Somebody will be thinking about the very good machine. Somebody will be thinking about a good painter. Somebody can be thinking about a good axiom, theorem, and all such construct of mathematics. Perfectly fine. But I cannot be saying that everybody must be teaching the same thing. Everybody must be doing the same thing. This is not the spirit of higher education, my dear friend. You require little bit of romance in the business of higher education. Otherwise, we forget about producing good graduates. Right. Now, I will try to come back to and prepare you for the next session So there are going to be some question that when you come back after this session, you are supposed to, I can ask anybody. So we will try to make our best so that the ability to produce good graduate is intact. Right. Okay, Pankaj, this is what my response will be to your question. Now, if you look at the last century, okay, if you look at the last century and the century that we are living in today, then in the education system, now I'm coming to that, answer that, has many complex questions that are arisen. And I'm sure, suppose that I'm going to be 65, some of you may be in the audience, maybe 30, 35 and 40, and your student is going to be in their 20s. So they have to go a long way. Then how many complex issues they are going to face? So you cannot be teaching only for present. You are supposed to prepare their mind for future as well. And this happens. Otherwise, no progress in any discipline will ever take place. So discussion on education has many complex dimensions and many more challenges are to appear in days to come. We all have to be conscious of this. I found one of the relevant texts in the post-World War II era, the idea of the university, Karl Jaspers. So for 1 hour after the break, I'm going to extensively refer to the work of Karl Jaspers. Those of you who are interested in education per se, they should also consult book of 19th century and another text on 20th century. And the most widely referred, those of you who are from the faculty of education, connected to faculty of education, will definitely be recollecting. One is the Cardinal Newman. It is 1859, so it is 19th century. And the title of the book is The Idea of a University Defined and Illustrated. It is Cardinal Newman, 1859. Followed by another text, The Mission of the University, by Gasset, 1944. Those of you who are interested can definitely go through it. I had gone through it once, but I will not be able to concentrate because I find that all the questions that why things are not becoming sensible in our context, to answer that question, looks like that the post-World War II work of Karl Jasper, 1959, seems to be highly relevant, and therefore I am going to concentrate on that. So here is a question. Please listen to my question. I am going to ask you after 10 minutes, okay, of the break. Shall we raise a question that if any university campus or the campuses of higher learning has got some inner strength also, inner strength to survive, what is going wrong outside the wall, outside the wall of the university may not affect as severely as they are affecting the social changes. Can it happen? And how are we going to judge this? Is that question clear? Can anybody react in the chat box, because you're supposed to answer after the break, okay? So you must know the question. Am I correct? Was the question well posed or not? The questioning is a must, my dear friend. I am saying that in case we believe that the education per se, or the higher education in particular, is okay. I'll write. Don't worry. I will write. Thank you. So आप लोग भागिएगा नहीं, लेकिन अभी हम लिखेंगे तो ऐसा नहीं कि लिखते समय आप लोग अपना अपना मोबाइल जो कि है ना इधर उधर करके चले जाएंगे. ठीक है. The question is that can university continuously, ये स्पेलिंग गलत है तो प्लीज माफी चाहते हैं. Can university continuously keep working on its inner strength despite changes in society by this I mean materially and politically. Materially and politically. Pankaj, am I correct now? Is this question clear to some of you? So what data to collect? Now next question is, what data to collect? Please react to this. I'm not going to leave you. What kind of data is required to substantiate that question? नहीं लिखिए ना chat box में, please write something. Otherwise, that many of my friends are joking that you are wasting your time. Of what? Of what? Kapil ji, what are we going to, what are the data that I have to produce so that that question becomes relevant? That's the question. In case any of you want to react, I can mute myself and you can react by unmuting yourself. Do you know, sir, that all these terminologies, they will kill us. They will kill us. Capacity building and all, they don't make any sense for quality of the graduate that we are producing. We are asking ourselves a question, can university survive for thousands of years? This is the question. If it has got an inner strength, then it must survive. Is it because of the ranking or the capacity building? It cannot be defended, my dear friend. Not that I am telling you here. I have told to the highest level also. Okay? And given the opportunity, I tell it again and again and again. How many of you heard this Jean-Paul Sartre? S-A-T-R-E? Sartre, that philosopher, French philosopher. Jean-Paul Sartre. My goodness, I have told you, our inner strength is to propagate truth. Come on, Menka. Yes, this is not correct. You are unfair to me. You are highly unkind to me. I have said that we are supposed to be advocating truth and investigating truth. And we are deriving support from our that philosopher Kant there to understand. Yes, keep going. Yeah, these are qualitative statements. I am saying that what data? Suppose that a student wants to work under you to understand that if the university system has got a inner strength, what kind of data you should bring before you to convince that yes, university system has got an inner strength. I'm saying that don't go in a deductive way. Go in an inductive way, my dear friend. Kapil, go in a inductive way, not the deductive way. You will never be able to nail down this problem. Baba, I am asking about the inner strength of the university, and you are just telling me implement and all the jargons that many idiots are trying to propagate around the university. So that means it must be a fairly good question. None of you could even come near to the level of collecting data. Not even collective data. That means we have quantified our education system so much that the qualitative level of understanding is not at all there. That what kind of data I must have to react to this. Okay, I give you one clue. Is it not worth investigating? Why did we lose Nalanda University? By the similar token, can we think of the universities that are the oldest? And those of you who are a student of political science will say that every 100 years there is a political change, sometimes 50 years, sometimes 30 years. And if you are saying that the university system has survived continuously for, what is this reputation? I am saying that why did it collapse if there is an inner strength? Okay. So to answer that, you are supposed to find out in 15 minutes. So I am going to be online again at 17:30. Okay? Substantiate your argument that why those political regions did not act in closing down of the university that are surviving for thousands of years. question that we are trying to understand. So you are supposed to tell me the names of the oldest university of the world that are currently working before Galileo Galilei. You are supposed to tell me the list of the universities or the higher education that are surviving even continuously till today. And all of them are established prior to Galileo Galilei. Okay? And that is what I expect you people to tell me after 15 minutes, that is 17:30, we'll be online again. So I hope this question seems to be okay to all of you. Everybody has left or what? No, I don't think so. Yes, Pankaj has already worked, so get me the year of that. You are wrong, Pankaj. I'll get you from the same site. You are supposed to get me the reference. You are a doctorate here. We never talk until there is a reference. Which reference did you follow, Pankaj? How old is this university, by the way? So, but it is continuously working, you must be knowing it. It is continuously in operation. That's the point I am emphasizing. But there are some universities even older than this guy. Okay, so they must have survived because of the inner strength. Pankaj, now you don't have any option, but in the induction process, you have to say yes. If it is in operation, then at least 1,000 years there is no political change, there is no social change, you are saying. There must be. And hence, our colleague, you must, from BHU, you must note that therefore the inner strength is there, and it is this inner strength that I am going to bring out in the next 50 minutes or so after the break. So what I propose is that we will be online at 17:30. Okay? Relax for 15 minutes so that we can.
और ये सोचो कि कैसे कॉन्ट्रैक्टर से पैसा क्योंकि हर समस्या पैसों की नहीं है तो फिर संस्कार जब कोई उससे अलग जगह से लोग हो जाए अगर उसके अपने संस्कार में शामिल ना हो तो फिर उसके गुजरने का बहुत ज्यादा हम सताएगा बच्चे की जितनी फॉर्मल मार्केट को हमें के बाद आगे हम जन्म होने की वैसे ही शायद ऐसा ही होगा हो सकता है हमारी को इसी तरह की हो कृपा करके मुझे ऐसी बात नहीं कि मैं किसी के मत करो ऐसे छोड़े जब मेरे दामाद की एक्सीडेंट में मौत हुई थी तब सुनती अपनी माँ को लेकर मेरे घर आया कि मैं उसका दर्द देख नहीं सकता इसलिए इतनी दूर में यहाँ आ गया हमारी जिंदगी में किसी के पास अपना जीवन साथी है तो उसका दर्द नहीं रहता यानी तुम ये बात कब समझ मेरे बात बताओ जो आदमी जितना कम बोलता है वो उतना ज्यादा बिल्कुल कोई तुम्हारे लेक्चर से पूरी तरह चलकर अपना सिर जाने लगा अपने बोलते बटन दबा रहा है तुमने कुछ देर और बताया तो चला जाए इसलिए तुमसे प्रार्थना है अपना पेट खत्म करो ये हुई तो हमसे बाय हाँ तुम मेरे साथ मेरे भाव क्यों नहीं चलते हो अगली नहीं लेकिन जल्दी ही चलूंगा भी रही है तो जानते हैं अपने दामाद की जमानत के लिए भाग करना ये मेरे गले की फांस बन गई मेरी मदद करने वाला दुनिया में कोई दिखाई नहीं दे रहा इतना मत करो मैं जल्दी गाँव आ रहा हूँ तो हम लोग मिलकर कोई ना कोई रास्ता निकाल देंगे हाँ, तुम आओगे तुमसे हिम्मत मिलेगी जल्दी से आओ ये दूर में क्या लगे हाँ मैं लेके आता हूँ ना कपड़े चलो मैं बांधूंगा जब तुम्हारी शादी नहीं है तो परिवार भी नहीं इसलिए हिमायत जरूरी होता है उसी तरह हम जैसे लोगों के मायने के लिए शराब की जरूरत होती है जैसे वहाँ को रिपेयर करवाओ तुम्हें सफाई करना चाहिए मेरे अलावा ना मैंने कोई ना किया मेरे भाई घर वालों से जब बात होती है तो मन एकदम हल्का हो जाता है लेकिन तुम्हें बात नहीं समझोगे इसीलिए बार बार एक ही बात को मत दोहराया करो तो यार अरे सुना वो देख रही है बस जरा देखो देखी खूबसूरत लग रही है और मैं बोला मुझे अपने गाँव भी लेकर छोड़ो ना क्या कर रहे हो सब देख रहे हैं अब ये तुम्हारी बीवी है क्या वो कहीं जाने वाली नहीं है इसलिए घर पहुंच के रोमांस कर लेना ठीक है मास्टर और ये हिसाब किताब लगाने में क्यों ये लो कैलकुलेटर लगाओ मुझे ये कैलकुलेटर मत दिखाइए ये उधार खाते की किताब नहीं है हाँ मेरे दोस्त का भविष्य बता सकते हो उनका हाथ दिखाइए हाँ हाँ अद्भुत लाजवाब 100 साल की जिंदगी है इनकी जिंदगी में अभी फिलहाल एक कमाल की घटना होने वाली है वो तो हो गई ना होने ही वाली थी ये मेरी भविष्यवाणी है ना वैसे क्या हुआ था इनके साथ अगर पता चला तो हजम नहीं कर पाएंगे आपने अभी बोला कि सब कुछ पता है आपको वैसे भी इसके अंदर प्रतिभा नहीं होती वही गोदान करता है केरला पति ने कहा है केरला पति कौन है वो मुझे भी नहीं पता है नहीं पता ठीक हो गए आपको कौन है बस आप जाना है एक बात को हाईजैक कर लिया गया है हाईजैक सिर्फ प्लेन को किया जाता है बस को नहीं किया जाता मेरी बात ध्यान से सुनो हमारे भाई आ रहे हैं लोगों को मेरा नमस्कार नमस्कार ये लोग कौन है आया बेटा और यू और सबसे पहले अपने फोन स्विच ऑफ कर दो मैं यहाँ कोई टिकट कलेक्टर नहीं हूँ मैं हूँ जेल बेटा अगर इज्जत से पैसे निकाल दोगे तो तुम्हें जाऊंगा अगर नहीं दिया तो आप गलत कर रहे हैं हमारा वो भी चल दिया क्या ये चला निकाल क्या है अबे कुछ नहीं वो नोट नहीं हो रहा नोट नहीं हो रहा ना मुझे तो जो हो गया होगा नहीं तो मुझे समझिए क्या कैरेक्टर में ही है एक्टिंग करना बंद करो पैसे निकालो रहने दो भाई मैं उसके पैसे दे देता हूँ अगर वो भी मार दो टैबलेट का सूखा हो गया मैं कैसे खाऊंगा उसको पैसे देने के लिए बोलना पैसे निकाल दे इस बात पे इसके लिए मुझे काफी टाइम हो गया लेकिन इसे पता ही नहीं चला क्या जाने दीजिए ना सर ये तो मंगल है।
आज मंगलवार नहीं है, शनिवार है। मंगल है। अरे क्या कर रहा है क्या? सच बता। अरे भगवान, अरे भाई उठ जाओ, बस का टाइम हो रहा है। अरे भाई 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 लेकर आ जाएंगे। और तू अपने किसी दोस्त से बात कर रहा है। ए, यार मेरे फोन पे बात कर रहा है। ठीक है, तुम्हारे कपड़े ला के देता हूँ। मैं बाजू बात कर रहा हूँ। दोस्ती से बात कर रहा हूँ। नो वन। अब बस टाइम पर बस का इंतजार कर रहा हूँ। जब ये अचानक क्यों हो गया? मतलब खाली जाने को बोला था ना, तो गया क्यों नहीं? और ये नाटक क्या है? उसे छोड़ो खाली। मुझे लगता था उसका अंतिम संस्कार अपने गाँव में किया। क्या आप इस मामले में कोई मदद कर सकते हैं? तो मैं शायद बाहर के हालात के बारे में पता ही नहीं। बाहर निकलने पर एकदम रोक लगा दी गई है। और तुम डेड बॉडी को लेकर गाँव जाना चाहते हो? कैसे ले जाओगे तुम? कॉन्ट्रैक्टर देगा नहीं। मुझे खुद समझ नहीं आ रहा कि मैं गाँव कैसे जाऊँ। मैं तुमसे बात करता रहा तो ट्रेन छूट जाएगी। फोन रखो। तुम्हारे घर से फोन आया है कि तुमसे बात करोगे। लो, लो, बात। और तुम डेड बॉडी को लेकर गाँव जाना चाहते हो? कैसे ले जाओगे तुम? ऐसे में अगर कार या एम्बुलेंस बुक करेंगे तो बहुत खर्चा आएगा। राजू, चलो 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 चलो। उसका नाम गलत बात है। मुझे अच्छी बात बोल देता था, ऐसा करेगा तो इसका नाम धीरे धीरे करता। क्या मैं आपके दोस्त के बारे में जान सकता हूँ? हाँ, अभी छोड़िए ना सर। आपकी कहानी फिर से ऐसे ही चलती हो यहाँ। अगर अभी वजह से दोस्त की गाड़ी चुराई ना, यहाँ पे सारे लोग चलती हो जाएंगे, सब छुट्टी हो जाएंगे। वैसे आप कार में नहीं जा सकते थे। कार के लिए पैसे लेकिन मेरे दिल में इसे इसके हाथ में छोड़ने की इजाजत है। तुम लोगों के पास जो कुछ भी है मेरे दोस्त को दे दो। वो तो मैं बैंक ठीक है। हाँ, हाँ, बॉडी का ध्यान रखना है। चलो 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 चलो। अगर किसी ने मेरे दोस्त से पैसे वापस लिए ना तो उसकी मौत कोरोना से होगी। नहीं।
मैंने कहा था ना इनके साथ घटना घटेगी, ये घटना घट गई ना। कभी कभी बहुत बड़ा चमत्कार होता है। भगवान इसकी आत्मा को शांति प्रदान करे। नारायण नारायण नारायण।
गांव के बाहर जो मामा की दुकान है ना, जाओ और उसे ठीक करवा के हाँ ले जाओ। पैसे ध्यान से पकड़ना, कहीं गिर ना जाए। ठीक है। माँ फिर परेशान क्यों हो रही है? बस शीशा ही तो टूटा है।
तो आटे की बोरी जैसा है, दांत से भूनना पड़ेगा। तो बच्चे की मतलब ये है कि तुम्हारी आधी जिंदगी बर्बाद हो चुकी है। वैसे क्या तुमने शादी की? इस बारे में मैं कुछ नहीं बता सकता। ठीक है, वैसे बच्चे कितने हैं? हाँ? ये मुझको ऐसी बातों पे मजबूर बोल रहा है। अरे चिंता मत करो, हॉस्पिटल पहुंचा दूंगा। हाँ भाई, हाँ, मुझे तुम्हें कुछ सच बताना है। मेरा दोस्त मर चुका है। मैं सोच रहा था कि उसे अपने गाँव कैसे ले जाऊं। ये ना एच1 का फोन है, मेरे दरवाजे
Are we back now? Shall we start? Okay. So, no, Kapil, please. I wanted the oldest. Kapil, the oldest. Pankaj, please check and write the name. Pankaj from that Wikipedia 9. Hey, Pradhan, this is unfair. Are they continuously surviving? This is not the way that any teacher should be reacting in the class. You should be focused in the
So
question.
University of Bologna is still surviving.
What is surviving?
It is still in operation.
Who said that?
So I have already made this link.
So how many years was it the gap?
Provided the link, sir.
Sorry?
Link is provided in the chat box.
No. How many years? How many years it did not function? This is the beginning of this century. Beginning of this century, it has started functioning. Am I correct? Pankaj, please react. Please react, sir.
So it is still in operation. And
What is meaning of still in operation? There is no history for so many years. There is a hiatus. HIATUS. There is a gap. I wish that you are correct. Okay?
Sir, can I speak, sir?
No, but still I have not got the oldest in continuous operation.
so this is 9th century of Alma Mater Stadium from as far as back 1888.
Which one?
1088. Conventionally
Which one, sir?
referred to as the year in which the Stadium of Bologna was founded.
No, one more university you people
The
are.
oldest university in the Western world presents itself.
No, there is a Morocco university.
Yes, sir.
Morocco.
This is oldest university in the Western world present itself.
Morocco University is surviving from 859.
1088.
No, it is 859.
Which, sir?
859.
Which university?
University of Morocco.
859. This is the year. This is the year. Year. Got it. Who has given me? Ajit. I was looking for this. Yes. So suppose that the student has worked, as you people have worked, and brought it. Now I want to make a construct. And this is known as the induction. This is not the process of deduction. Okay? So this induction process permits me to know that maybe university system has got certain inner strength. Even if there is a political change, yet the people of that locality, remember my statement, okay? I am not able to elaborate it further because I have to say something else. Amit, Pankaj, did you, in that site, it doesn't give this university name?
It is not mentioned.
Huh?
It is not mentioned in the Wikipedia.
No, but in the textbook that I have has got this. Okay.
Okay,
And it is
will
surviving.
check
I know it that it is surviving.
Okay, I will check it, sir.
Just you try to. And this gentleman Ajit has done it. A wonderful job for me. I was looking for it.
Okay,
See,
sir.
the important point is that capacity building and all. Can you show me any literature prior to World War II, a term, hopeless term like capacity building in the educational institution has ever been used. That's why we are losing qualitative statements so vital for the survival of the university system at the cost of the political master. They are saying capacity building. We are not people from management. We have given our life to educational institutions. We know the vital forces, the inner strength. See, you people are trying to construct an example for me, which is of the following kind. You will be saying that Professor R.K. Mandal is a nice human being because Professor R.K. Mandal is a professor. This is a nonsense logic. Okay? Capacity building is very good, therefore the university is good. No, Baba. The inner strength is something else that we are trying to discuss now. And that inner strength is that you should not be in fear. F-E-A-R. Please, anybody has raised the hand? No. If there should not be any fear. If there is a fear, then no truth. Then mera kya gaya? Why I could not write? No truth. No truth. Thank you, Pankaj. You have finally brought it. So no truth. Who said it? That the truth, the precondition in our context now. We are around that time itself. In our time, not my time, sorry. I think our forefather, during freedom movement, somebody has said it very emphatically. During freedom struggle, our own people, that in case you want to investigate truth, you are supposed to be fearless. Who said? Yes, Pankaj, you are correct. नहीं ये 1963 नहीं है बाबू. It is there is some problem in your database. It's 859. Okay, so database is wrong that you are consulting. So now this educational institution of higher learning must not have any kind of fear. Any kind of fear. Who said it, by the way? That to make a truthful statement, you have to be fearless. Who said that? In our context, during freedom movement, freedom movement, you tell me? No, Mahatma Gandhi. It was Mahatma Gandhi who said it. Now, let us try to come back to our original question. So you can have the database. Suppose that somebody doesn't like University of Morocco surviving like this, but you have to understand that the University of Oxford is definitely existing. And you cannot be saying that the University of Oxford, when it was established, that time the political system is analogous to what we have today in England. I think any student of history will dispute that. Okay? So, the form of the higher education, but the higher education is a center of, yes, you're correct, as a center of learning, has survived. Why did it survive? How did it survive? These are the questions that you must have. And it has survived because of the fact that people around them wanted that, yes, this must be there. That means the professors of the campus, by designation may not be professor, it could be some other form, some priestly character or something like that. That from the monk, for example. In the Nalanda case, it is monk. So, whatever may be, but a man of great repute used to go there and try to investigate the truth in their own domain. It could be philosophy, it could be Shastra. Yes. I do not remember it, the Shila or the Nalanda, but it's fine. So this is, but they are not surviving. That's the most important point. My hypothesis will be that those which have continuously survived in one form or the other and is still trying to impart education, they must have certain vital element, inner strength, core strength, supported by the people. If people do not like it, it cannot go on like this. Therefore, you must earn the respect of the people around you until you have this. And for that, you must practice truth. You must be knowing that those people who practice truth, they are always revered. Whatever you may say, but Mahatma Gandhi cannot be. No part of the world has ever told in the last 150 years that Mahatma Gandhi was a liar. Nobody has the courage to say that. Similarly, a good professor in their own discipline, they are fearless, they practice truth, they dare to understand, and finally come back to our original submission of the Jaspers. Carl Jaspers gives three triads. So I'm going to give three kinds of triplets of the prescription by Carl Jaspers on the idea of the university. Right? So what are the three triplet. And that I'm going to give. And through that, we will try to infer that maybe those universities that are surviving, they still have been thriving on the prescription given by Carl Jasper. And you will like it because truth has no substitute. Maybe it is difficult to preach truth. You must be knowing the famous statement that when Galileo was given house arrest by the king, a friend of his, then that time his friend has appealed, who was the king also, that why don't you change your, so that you don't embarrass me. So for a moment, he decided to change his mind, but while walking away from the court, when he came out of the domain of that legal domain where you are supposed to be making submission, he said, it moves nevertheless. Right? So if it is moving nevertheless, it is moving nevertheless. Whatever you want to say, you can say. So the first triad one. I'm giving you the example of triad one first. What is this triad one? This is about the purpose of the university. And you will quickly realize that indeed we are doing it. Those of us who are associated with the university, we know that we are doing this. What are they? I do not know whether we are doing it in a good way or not, but we are doing it. The first one is the academic teaching. The second one is the scientific and scholarly research. And the third one is creative cultural life.
वो कब से कब वाला? First April से 10th April तक.
Sorry, creative. I'm sorry, this is not creative, this is creative. How can you have a creative cultural life? Please react. How can you have a creative cultural life?
रीना. रीमा.
By permitting a student to ask questions. I know some of us don't permit a student to raise questions in the class.
रीमा.
When you organize a cultural function, that time you don't enjoy it along with your students. You're saying these are useless. They are not useless, Baba. This is how the student, teacher and the taught can be brought together. One of the emphasis of the NEP is that there has to be a closer interaction between the teacher and taught. You can have teacher and taught interaction provided taught has got firm faith in the scholarship of the teacher. If the student is not getting anything new, right, anything very something that the student feels, oh, this nobody has told me. That happens. For example, whatever I had prepared, in between I must have made a lot of a statement that is not written in my notebook. I'm sure of it. So, you are supposed to be having a closer interaction for the creative cultural life. Should that interaction be confined to the classroom? Answer to this question is no. You can discuss wherever you want. Issues that are of mutual interest. For example, I am interested in history. I will discuss history with my students all the time. And in that process, he will have the confidence that, oh, my teacher also reads. I think the famous joke is, you must be knowing that the professors are those who neither teach nor read, or something like that. They used to joke. Because once you become the senior most professor, nobody is going to tell that you take a class, obviously. So your motivation to go to the class, I think, is primarily due to your students, because they want to learn something out of it. Right? They want to learn something out of it. Now, in absence of the science and scholarship, science matlab natural science I don't mean. It's a scientific method and all that will come later. So if there is no scholarly research, then the comprehensive intellectual life to the campus cannot be there. I cannot be giving any answer to that question, because What is that construct? Please tell me. Kapil, please unmute yourself and tell me.
Sir, actually,
Education is good for society, I can say that. Yes, Kapil, please.
yes, sir. I joined again. So the previous messages got disappeared. So I requesting Ajit sir to send something that he had sent earlier, sir.
You are unable to read whatever I am writing.
No, Ajit sir had probably had sent some construct earlier, which you were referring to earlier. So I missed that because I automatically got exited from the group, and so I have again joined, sir. So those messages have disappeared. So I was requesting sir, Ajit sir, to send that construct again.
Oh.
Yes, sir. I think he has sent.
Why that disappearing message is there? I have not done it. I think something must be okay. Oh, yeah, he has done it again. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir, yes.
No,
Thank you,
now
sir.
let us come back. See, these are the questions that no academic should be asking, whether it is good or bad. I am trying to give you the vital element of higher education. If NEP conform to that, I support it. If it is not conforming to that, wherever you tell me, I will simply say that it doesn't conform to that. Today I am not yielding on that issue because I can deliberate on that on some other occasion. So I am still on the tried one, item number 2. Oh God, I have to give you something else also. It says that in the sense of a method, right, science and scholarship are inseparable. How do you see that you are not constructing a methodological construct? It may be good in the area of methodology, but it is never in the area of scholarship, scientific scholarship, which has nothing to do with science only. It has to take everything that is being taught in a scientific method, right? Be it critic, be it anything, it must be consistent, logical, rational, and you should keep progressing like that. So science and scholarship, therefore, they are inseparable in the sense of a method. And these are the elements that will give a vibrant atmosphere, a creative atmosphere on the campus. And we are trying to work over time to kill it by coining jargons that has nothing to do with the best tradition of university system. By that, I mean that if there is a model of the university system that has survived continuously because of the people's support, we should continue to create atmosphere so that the people feel that yes, the university is trying to serve some problem, is trying to serve us, right? Now we go to triad 2. Now we go to triad 2. Science and scholarship, they refer to 3 important factors. It has to, I have already told you, but let me, because it is his statement of Carl Jesper, I should be more accurate. Methodical, cogent, and must have the universal appeal. It is the universal appeal that makes it. It is the universal appeal that makes it to be. University must have domain of research undergoing that has got the universal appeal. You cannot be saying that, yes, it is true. In my context, it may not be true for you. That is fine. But the essentials of the university system works by adopting a method that is cogent, well established for a discipline. You cannot be making nonsense, right? And everybody cannot be becoming a historian overnight. This is the important thing, that everybody cannot become a social scientist overnight. Everybody cannot become a scientist overnight. Everybody cannot be a professor of the university overnight. This has nothing to do with the designation. It has something to do with our ability to practice science and scholarship in a methodical, cogent, and must have the universal appeal in the domain of research that we are trying to work. And therefore, all value system of the university must emanate from the cogency, universally valid point, and all such things must be there. You will be surprised to know the method that you adopt in analyzing your data in this part of the world or the other part of the world. If they are the part of the university system, we will be able to understand that no, this analysis is wrong. Why we are able to do that? We are able to do that because we have a established tradition of a method, established tradition of cogency, established tradition of the universality of the problem. And this universal appeal makes the name of the university. Okay, that is another thing that we must know. So therefore, university remains a place of universal knowledge. Nobody can say that you will be teaching only science, you will be teaching only engineering. Then forget about your university tag. You simply say that I don't want university tag and be a happy man. That's not a problem. Universal knowledge by community of scholars drawn from various parts of the world, with different national constitution. So you cannot be on the university system forcing on those students who are coming from other part of the world, having their own constitution, to come here and finally say that you have to be subservient to the some power. For example, when our students are going, right, or when the most influential political party leaders are sending their students to University of Leeds or University in UK or US, they will always say that you try to follow your tradition. And that is how it should be. If you cannot have faith in the tradition, then how can you attract the students and the teachers from the various parts of the world? And if you cannot attract, then your university tag is a university tag, but it does not have any relevance. That's why we do not know any of the university that has got its narrow functioning can ever be brought at the global level and can survive for long. Because their inner strength is trying to challenge the basic hypothesis of the creation of university. Right? So this is the cultural practices they inherit when they come to our campuses from the different part of the world, right? Why? After all, you have to admit foreign nationals also in the university system. If you are saying that your hypothesis has to be universally valid and your university system must be known to others, then you have to admit the students and the teachers both. Under some condition, whatever the government laws permits. If our people are going to teach abroad, they can also come and teach in our place. If our students are going abroad for doing PhD, they can also come. This is the crux of the problem, and therefore never fall in the dictate of the political master, because they cannot teach us vocabulary of higher education. They cannot teach us what is higher education. After all, as we cannot run the country, they cannot run the university. University has to run by scholarship, by academics, and academics only. Okay. So what is the university? Then Jasper, I have given you the sufficient background. Now I am giving you the conclusion of the two triad that I have told you just now. Triad 1 and triad 2. Right? So now Jasper prescription of the university is the place where man, please include all gender, okay? Those people are of 60s of the last century, so please pardon them. The university is the place where man has the freedom to search for truth. Wonderful. And freedom to search for truth requires that you should be you must have a fearless atmosphere. And to teach truth in defiance of anyone. Look at that. It says that you are having investigated the truth, and if you are convinced, in case you are convinced that this is how it is, then it says that you should be able to propagate that truth in defiance of anyone who wishes to curtail it. Right? So therefore, the university is a community of scholars and students in the task of seeking truth. There is only one vital element. There is only one inner strength. In case you have not copied your thesis, in case your investigation is original, in case your investigation is methodical, cogent, and has got some universal appeal in the domain where you are trying to practice your research, then be assured, no power in the world, no power of the world can ever put you down, because that's the inner strength of that place, inner strength of yours, and they must be preserved intact. So the university is a community of scholars and students in the task of seeking truth. It is a body which administers its own affairs. Look at that. Regardless of whether it derives its means from endowments, ancient property rights, or the state, or whether its original public sanction comes from the papal bulls, imperial charters, or the acts of provinces or states. So, whether it is a state-funded institution or the private-funded institution, higher education simply says that you are funded, that's enough. We have a commitment to our discipline. We have a commitment through that discipline to extend services through our graduate to the society. And this is how the university system or the higher education system is connected to the society. It says that even if the church has given you the money or the temple has given you the money to run the university, they cannot be saying that what to teach. I am trying to emphasize it again and again that many of us succumb to the pressure of the bureaucrats and the political masters. That look, they are giving you the money, so you have to be subservient. Then forget about the university. You better create something else. You say that all the university will become a government-owned any government office. University cannot be government office because the government office has got confidentiality. University system said that Rajiv Kumar Mandal can also read. Kapil Sharma can also read, Pankaj Pandey can also read. That's the beautiful part of the modern day education, which is so democratic. And in case we don't like this, I think something has gone wrong with our colleagues. So, irrespective of who created it, who funded it, you are supposed to be yourself. Now, bureaucrat will ask you, those of you who are going to the ministry, they will say, look, you cannot be given freedom so that there is no accountability. Have you heard of this question or not? If you are a senior man, you must have heard this question. You people only want money, only want grant, but no accountability. Have you heard this question or not? Some of you should react. Otherwise, I'll feel you people have gone and I'm unnecessarily shouting. Is there argument? The argument of the bureaucratic, the government has given you the money and you want freedom. Why should I give you the freedom? How to react it? So they will say that there is no accountability, that means. Now Jasper has the following prescription on that, right? I cannot write and read like Jasper, so I'm quoting again and again after posing the question. Jasper. Okay. So what does it say? Academic freedom is a privilege. ये तो privilege है मेरा. Which entails the obligation to teach truth. My goodness. In defiance of anyone outside or inside the university who wishes to curtail. We are scared of our directors and the vice chancellor. The competent authority, do you mean individual, Pankaj? Do you mean competent authority individual?
In university, it is vice chancellor.
Sorry?
In university, it is vice chancellor.
And the vice chancellor is the authority, you mean?
As per laws, it is a authority of university.
No. If you look at the textbook, for example, BHU Act, if you read, it will say that authority is the academic council, authority is the executive council. They are the executive.
No, but sir, everything is done by the vice chancellor, no?
Sorry?
Nowadays, everything is done by the vice chancellor.
Oh, that's what can you do, Pankaj? If we are unable to discharge our duty the way university is supposed to be, then nobody will know us, sir. That's why they are not knowing us, to be very frank with you.
No, it is true, sir.
So the policies are to be framed by the Senate. Academic policies are to be framed by the Senate. Academic policy are to be framed by the academic council, depending on which structure you are in, and they have to be implemented by the vice chancellor and the director respectively. So authority in a democratic society is always Senate, academic council, assembly, parliament. Nobody else can be authority. Those of you who are from, there is a student of law also, they will explain you what does it mean. So it says that you are supposed to be propagating truth. Satya bolna itna aasan hai kya? Is it so easy to speak the truth? For example, those of you, I saw that a colleague is from pharmacy. Suppose that he comes out with a brand of the medicine. In his lab, one of his students is saying that no, sir, this medicine does not have the required ingredient that they are claiming. Will he be able to propagate it? This definitely has not happened for the recent corona vaccine in some of the cases. Not corona vaccine. What is that? Remdesivir. Can anybody write the name of that? There is a colleague from pharmacy. Thank you. Thank you, Pradhan sir. So this was flagged. This was red flagged by the drug. What is that? Drug Authority of Bihar first time. That no, this cannot be administered by the clinician. But was there a investigation where it was produced? Can you sir name of that of the Gujarat company who produced it, if you remember? Okay, they can always find it out. There is a Gujarat company who was making it, but there was no investigation by the government of Gujarat. Bihar government did request that yes, please investigate it. There is something wrong with this medicine. So it said that in defiance of anyone, so only Bihar colleague could show that yes, there is a problem and let the whole world know. Suppose that you don't want to propagate truth, and these days often the social science and the history in particular, they are in question. Then the peer will delete you. You can have all kind of privileges by the political masters, but subject-wise, nobody is going to care for you, my dear friend. Did you join university system to be recognized by your peer or by the political masters? And in case you want to be recognized by the political masters, better join the politics. Why to come to the university system? University system permits you to have the free and the fair level field to practice truth, to investigate the truth. And therefore, the argument is that in case you don't practice a propagation of the truth, dissemination of your knowledge, that beyond doubt you have proved that yes, in my understanding, this is how it is, then your peer group will delete you and the posterity will not forgive you. When you report something which is wrong, they will simply say that this guy has befooled the whole civilization, whole society. And hence, such institution cannot survive for long. By that institution, maybe the institution may survive, but that domain of research may not survive for long. Now, now I think we should go to another very, very important concept that Jasper has given. It is triad. Now this is the third triad. See, I have already given you two triad, and I have said that 3 triplets I am going to give you. And here also, the 3 triplets in this triad, they relate to the basic forms of education. Basic forms of education. I'm sure this basic forms must be taught by the Faculty of Education, but I'm trying to make it in my own way, okay, by invoking Carl Jasper. So there are 3 well-known traditions of imparting education. One of them is the scholastic, where the teachers are supposed to pass on well-known facts, and hence he can be replaced by any other teachers, including the machine. See, you ask a question to the machine, if it has got enough data, it will be able to answer. This is what is the job of the scholastic tradition. Well known in the forms of education. Should we stop there? You cannot afford to stop there. Then man can be replaced by machine. Then machine will do everything. If machine will do everything, then there is a problem. If I have time, I'll read out after some time. I think it will think. Okay. Let me try to go. Yes. The first one is the scholastic tradition, where I have conjectured based on the hypothesis of Jasper, which is well accepted in the area of imparting education. The first one is the scholastic instruction. In school we practice it. In primary school we practice it. In higher education also we practice it. Because you have to be made aware of the vocabulary of a subject. So that time the teacher must know the vocabulary well in advance and finally tell. And therefore this dictionary part of it, any machine can do without any difficulty. And this is what it is saying, that teachers, if the teachers are not there online, it will be going on. What cannot be done online or the machine is the subject matter of the triad 3, where I will be giving you more emphasis, and I request you, in case you have got it after my lecture, that means you are a different man and a different colleagues of ours. And the second one is the apprenticeship. A competent person, well adept in skill, imparts apprenticeship. And therefore, he gives you the skill set. For example, in engineering, I know that you can have, or in science, I know that how to capture a photograph. Not by photograph, I think in the spectroscopy, you are supposed to be capturing the line. By photograph, I don't mean ordinary photograph. How to take a micrograph in the domain of physical metallurgy and electron microscopy, right? They will teach you that, look, this is how it has to be. How to produce a quality photograph or the micrograph. For that you require a skill set. How to solve the equation, you require a skill set. So the person who can write a good code, he will tell you that, look, whenever you have this kind of differential equation, you should be able to write a code of this kind. And I'm sure, since I'm not knowledgeable for the social sciences, so I'm unable to construct example, I'm sure of it, that even in social sciences, this must be happening. So you have to have the skill set, right? This skill set, ITI people will also have. Non-graduation courses also have. Is that correct or not? Diploma people will also have. But in what way the degree fellows? A graduate jisko kehte hain. A graduate is going to be different. Now I come to the third part of it, and that is known as the Socratic tradition. Now this Socratic tradition, what makes the university system different from school education or any other diploma education, or whatever I am telling is not true for your chartered accountancy and management, because they are not the holistic education. They cannot impart holistic education. So by education, we mean that you should be able to give you the inner strength. And how that inner strength comes. And you have said that the graduate, when he goes out of the boundary after getting a degree outside, he should be an independent man. How can he be an independent man or woman? How can? Then it says that the teacher and the taught must be equally novice in the domain where the discussion is trying to progress. Let me construct what does it mean. Suppose that you have given a problem that let us try to solve this problem. And you have the intent that you should be published in the best possible journal of your discipline. And if it is the best possible journal of the discipline, then the requirement is that the teacher also doesn't know the answer, the student also doesn't know the answer. The student in this case, the specific case, is going to be the doctoral student, for example. The student doesn't know the answer. Teacher doesn't know the answer. Teacher guides him that, okay, you can follow this line. The student goes and finally tries to think, and then comes back and narrates the story to his or her supervisor. The supervisor is saying that, look, whatever you are saying is not convincing. So the supervisor gives a new direction. The student comes on the following morning or after a couple of days in a well thought manner and comes to the teacher and says that, look, professor, whatever you have said on that day has got this following discrepancy from the point of view of the method, from the point of view of cogency, from the point of view of the existing scholarship in our domain. So the teacher has demolished the student, his hypothesis. The student has also come and demolished the hypothesis of the teacher. And this is where it is, both of them are unknown to the problem, answer to the question that they are trying to investigate. This is the beautiful part of a good research. So that means he has used a wonderful term. I think, let me try to. In the Socratic tradition, both of them are trying to search for truth. Nobody knows the answer. A teacher has to resist his or her students has to make their authority. This is the most important. Now you cannot be exercising your authority on the student because you also do not know the answer to the question and your student doesn't know, you also do not know. Therefore, you both are free to think independently. Are you able to see the connection now? A graduate should be able to think independently once they go out of the campuses. And this is the foundation of that. The theoretical foundation of a good graduate comes from here only. It can be at the BSc level, it can be at MSc level, it can be at the PhD level. So a creative cultural life means this, that you never should exercise your authority to your student. And you must be, those of you who are teaching in the honors, even that you must be having that, oh, this boy seems to be different. And therefore, you can say that if the teacher is not, if the student is arguing so much, he will not be able to have respect for the teachers. This is a hopelessly wrong concept. Teachers must show its scholarship, its generosity, right? It cannot exercise his authority as professor. And in case in the knowledge system you are exercising your authority as a professor, that means you are not a professor. If I have to say in the audience, by going to the society who doesn't know that I am Dr. So-and-so, that means your PhD is nothing. You could not convince your audience that you have got a doctorate degree. You should be different. You should be able to speak differently. You should be able to convince others that no, there are some quality in this PhD fellow which the others don't have. So therefore they are different. So the teacher is charged with continuously improving its accomplishment. Is that theorization all right? Somebody should say. I have said that the teacher and the taught are both at the same level. So they cannot be exercising their authority by virtue of being a professor. Because the boy is saying that, look, established scholarship tradition is telling me that your hypothesis, your interpretation of my result is wrong. Your interpretation, possible explanation is wrong. Then what is going to happen? So the respect will come only when you permit your student to think independently and nourish his ability to think, the nourishment to think that, well, this boy is after all thinking, this girl is after all thinking, and we must promote it. And therefore, it is not the skill set. When you stop higher education system as the skill set, then your graduate will not be independent. To make them independent, what is the requirement in the Socratic tradition? That both teacher and taught must, after some time, start working on the idea, level of idea, right? That yes, this machine is not working. Can I improve this? The efficiency of that machine. So you have to work on the idea, at the level of idea. So Socratic tradition imparts transcendent status of mind. That means now, once you start working on the idea, then there is upliftment from within. You know, I am thinking in a different way. And this ability, once the teacher and the taught both start having that, yes, they are thinking in a different way, be sure that you are producing a good graduate. They will never let you down. And the long live that institution where this kind of culture is prevailing. And they are the vital force. They are the inner strength that permits them to survive longer. Whether it is 100 years continuously, 2000 years continuously, doesn't matter. But irrespective of the changes in the political system, if it is able to withstand all those tyrannies and start saying that, look, we are the people who will be propagating only truth. This kind of guts, this kind of fearless guts, if we have, I think no power can snatch away our freedom to practice Socratic tradition, which is a well-known tradition. Why Sudha is started presenting? I'm not yet done here. Wait. So there is Socratic tradition imparts transcendent status of mind, which imposes on human life the burden of straddling between the two worlds. And what are the two worlds? The knowing the world, the knowing the problem, and not knowing the problem. See, a student, after some kind of research, you feel that he has known the world now, he has known the problem. The teacher will say that I have formulated the problem, I must be knowing the problem better. But both of them are wrong. Because the fundamental assumption of formulating a problem at the level of truth is that the truth is neither known to the teacher nor to the taught. Only at the end, when the method, a cogent reason is applied, a scientific method is applied, the scholarship emerges. So my dear friend, that respect without reciprocation or hoping to get favor is indispensable to education. You respect the opinion of others. This is the fundamental teaching of that. Now, just at the end of it, since it is the artificial intelligence business, so a very, very great man of theoretical AI, okay, who got Nobel Prize in 2021. But he was more known prior to winning Nobel Prize. This is true. That's why I'm saying that you should not be exercising your position by saying I am Dr. Rajiv Kumar Mandal. You do not have doctorate degree, so therefore you know less. This is nonsense. You have to prove your worth here in the society, right? So now I come back to the end of a journey, end of this talk. After that, you can ask question. So it says, never permit the aura of purity around you to fade away. And this happens whenever you have the jargons like capacity building in app. Okay? I do not have capability to make a theorization of it, but for that I am saying Nelkin, 1990, that increased commodification of science, the growing perception of science as property, has led to the fading away of the aura of purity. If society feels that professor is also lying, that means that day is the end of this story. And this is the reason why the university system is unable to assert in our society that yes, teachers are doing something related to truth. Now let us try to understand that why AI cannot threaten us if we are in the Socratic tradition. For that, I quote one paragraph of The Emperor's New Mind by Roger Penrose in the chapter, Can a Computer Have a Mind? He has argued out. And he argues in the following way. And I hope you will enjoy. But to be able to think, that has been a very human prerogative. Dare to understand? Right? This is what I have been propagating. But to be able to think, that has been a very human prerogative. It has, after all, been that ability to think, which when translated to physical terms, has enabled us to transcend our physical limitations. Is that correct or not? See, I can go to America in 20 hours, and which has seemed to set us above our fellow creatures in achievements. If machine can one day excel us in that one important quality to think, okay, यहाँ पे अंग्रेजी में लिखा हुआ नहीं है, but I'm just trying to construct, to think, in which we have believed ourselves to be superior, shall we not then have surrendered that unique superiority to our creation? Therefore, my dear friend, never succumb to the pressure. Be qualitatively on your firmer ground that look, education means this, nothing more, nothing less. You can bring as many national policy on education as possible, so long it is trying to serve the intellectual curiosity of the mankind, and finally converting those curiosity to have a better society. No power on the earth can say that university system must go away, and for that we have to keep interacting with each of us, teachers and the taught, as well as the members of the society. And this is what I had been emphasizing, that maybe those institutions which are continuously surviving for thousands of years, maybe the political change has occurred, but the society around those institutions, they must have been interacting so much, or the people had the faith that no, they are people of the purest form. The aura of purity, they had the faith, and this aura of purity should not be allowed to be faded away. And this is what is my message on the higher education and the linkages of higher education to society. You require good graduate, and for that you require good university. You require the people who can speak the truth always. Once you are convinced that this is what you are finding, never get scared that no, this is my finding, and I will continuously keep propagating, particularly in the what has happened in the last 3-4 years. It is a devastating experience for all of us. Now we are able to understand that no, I was not knowing that Remdesivir was a red flag by Bihar government. Only yesterday or day before yesterday, there was somebody was telling me from pharmaceutical engineering that no, it was red flag by one of the drug authority. In case I have conveyed something, I am grateful to all of you, and I'm very happy that some of you have really done wonderful in this. So any question if you have, you can make it in the chat box, or you can speak also. I have 10 minutes time for this.
Sir, I would like to speak something. First of all, thank you so much for such a nice session and such informative session for us. One thing I would like to say, sir, nowadays, I just want your opinion. Like the universities have digressed from their objectives. They are not focusing on their sole objectives for which they are built. Rather, now they are competing among themselves, like certifications, this and that, branding, and competition. And now they are not focused on their objectives, which are supposed to be there. Rather, they are sort of branding, showing off, and unnecessarily what to say, sir. Gathering attention. What is your opinion, sir, regarding particularly in the private sector, sir?
Be it private sector or public sector, my dear friend, that this business of ranking,
yes, sir,
has spoiled us from within. Let me be very frank with you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and the most of us are interested in working on that parameter. And now the romance is that romance comes in the university system when you work at the level of idea, my dear friend. And if you are doing such mechanical thing, such quantitative description of the intellectual ability of the human being, that means forget about the university. So, in fact, we are going to be in deep trouble in days to come, and the university as such will be qualitatively changing. Now, there is a question that what can you do, Pankaj? We should register as much as we can. Yes. Now there is a question that how are we going to evaluate our faculty, right? We can only evaluate our faculty based on the kind of contribution that he has made to the teaching and what kind of graduate they are producing. All other parameters are nonsense according to me. And wherever you want me to say, I'll say this. Whether they listen or not is a different question. But I will say this. Any more questions, sir? Please write in the chat box. Okay. See, I have given you all the relevant references, okay? And I am available for discussion to any of you. Any question that you want, you can always send me. Only thing is that about the infrastructure and all, I'll not be able to help. I mean, there is no fund. I'll not be able to help you, sir. What is the... So I've given you, mostly it is all the material of the later part, that is the last 1 hour, I had been talking from Algesper book. And the rest is my construct based on the literature available. And I was trying to do it here and there. If there are no more questions, then shall we thank you one and all? No, if the students are doing it, I don't mind, but even the professors with 10 years of experience, they are doing it, I'm a worried man. हाँ बोलिए रानीपाल जी, कुछ पूछना है क्या? Please write in the chat box.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Any more questions that shall we then say thank you to each of you?
Sir, I think we should wrap up this session now.
Okay.
As there is no more questions.
Thank you, Amit ji. Thank you. Now I'm going off.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.